I'm thankful that you have been so open in telling us your story.
We'll see how I feel when it comes out.
You already signed the disclosures.
I know. Thank God for the legal team.
Domain.
Yeah.
So we had gone, quick summary, through your childhood, high school. You talked about anorexia, binging, talked about not feeling comfortable through puberty, college, finding alcohol, continuing to kind of, getting sober, turning from alcohol to food, and then you put on a lot of weight. So we're at the point where I'm curious, so when did you decide to focus on eating healthy and your relationship to food and yourself? I remember before you told me at some point you came down to this issue of self-love.
Yes.
So tell me the story about, so you gave up alcohol, you had a problem with food, and then...
So I guess basically what happened was when I was in that time where I was gaining the weight, it was like...
This is your low 20s after college.
Yeah, it's like 24, probably.
Kind of mid-low 20s,
yeah,
okay.
mid-low 20s. And I, as I'm doing this, I know that I'm uncomfortable, and I know that I'm like, that I don't really love myself that much. I was aware of that. I was aware that my confidence was basically gone, I'd always been a pretty fit person, so being in this body did not match who I always felt like I was, which was an athlete and active person. Even before, if I was binging and had those food issues, my body pretty much stayed the same, And so...
So you kind of looked good on the outside.
Right. I looked normal.
Yeah.
Like there was never anything that like raised red flags. I think I got a little skinny once and someone said something to me, but it wasn't it wasn't a big deal. Because I would also like front that I was anorexic or like try to be, in front of people, and then I would like binge by myself. So it was just weird. But so as far as self-love stuff goes, I felt so uncomfortable. And I knew because of the way people were reacting to me, like no one really wanted to be my friend,
Oh.
I know, I was totally that kid. No one wanted to be my friend because I wasn't very nice. When you don't love yourself, it comes out. Yeah, it comes out and you're not happy with anyone else. And that was a big thing for me, is nobody could do anything right because I needed them to act the way that I wanted them to act at all times, and I couldn't stand that I couldn't control them. And
this like totally feels like me like now in a lot of ways.
Well, it's all stuff we deal with.
This is why I like listening to, like, you're being honest about it. You're like, I was like this years ago, and I'm like, I'm ready. I'm gonna make my transition tomorrow. So let me hear how you got out of that.
Yeah, no, but it, you just, I don't know. There's been a lot of work, but so yeah, I just kept beating myself up, and then I went home. And after being on the road for a long time, and I saw my family, and my mom, in a very loving way, said basically what happened, like what's going on, because here's her little athlete girl, not so little anymore. And
was she looking on the outside, or did she know there was something on the inside?
I don't think she knew there was something on the inside. I think she knew something must have been wrong for me to be so overweight, because it wasn't like me. And so she owns a wellness center.
At that time?
At that time.
Wow.
At the time. So she owned a wellness center, and I had actually been the person that got her into health and wellness, because I had always been into it and very interested in it. But she, so then I tried this diet called the HCG diet, which is it claims to have you lose a pound a day, and you eat 500 calories. You take these hormone things, and it works, right? Because you're eating 500 calories. I do it for 40 days.
You were taking beta HCG?
Yeah, I was taking their homeopathic version.
Okay.
It basically tricks your body into thinking it's pregnant, so that it thinks it requires more food, right? I think that's how it all works. And then since you're eating so little, it eats the fat, supposedly. Basically, I was anorexic for 40 days, and so I lost like 30 pounds. And
30 pounds in 30 days.
And I was so happy. You have no idea. But then what happens? Well, I start eating again, and I can't stop, and I gain it all back in 2 weeks. So that's when I think I hit my bottom, because I was
just like classic crash diet.
Right. Which is, I had done so many crash diets. I used to stay up all night like researching, what's the new thing.
What were you searching for?
I wanted this answer. I wanted a solution.
What was the question?
The question is, how can I get this weight off?
As quick as possible.
As quick as possible.
As fast as possible.
And I didn't care if there was health involved.
And you didn't care what it did to your body. You just wanted the outside. Yeah.
I'll worry about the
then
health
if
later.
you were skinny, then what?
Well, then I'm accepted, I'm loved, I'm amazing.
Then I'm lovable, then
Yeah.
I'm amazing, that's what that would mean.
Yeah.
Okay.
So then I called my mentor and I was just done. I had this lady that I was working with, and I still work with actually, and she was like, okay, Britt, I want you to try something you've never tried before. And I was like, okay. She's like, I want you to stop dieting. I thought she was going to give me, this great diet. And she's like, I want you to stop dieting. And she is the one that told me to start writing my food down. So that's where that habit started. It was.
Do you still have the same mentor?
Yeah.
That's so good for you.
It's so good. She's amazing. And so writing the food down. So my food journals, when you ask, when I was on the road and gaining the weight, I was eating everything. Cheesecake, grilled cheese every day. I was eating everything, anything and everything all the time. What happened then, which was, I think, is more interesting than the how did you gain all this weight? I gained it by eating terrible food, but the way that my journey in the beginning wasn't a switch didn't flip. It wasn't like, okay, now I'm healed because she told me to stop dieting. What happened was she told me to write my food down no matter what. So even if it's a gallon of ice cream, even if, and I'm going to send it to her every night.
Accountability.
And it wasn't even about the accountability. What it was about for me was taking the judgment out of the food. My food is just a fact. It doesn't mean anything. And that, it makes me emotional talking about it. It's weird. It's just a fact. It doesn't mean I'm good or bad. It doesn't mean I'm this or that.
Because you attach so much meaning to it beforehand.
Totally. Especially at the end, it was like, I eat this, so I'm bad.
So not only did you write it down, but you also said, okay, I'm going to let the judgment go. This is just the facts of what I ate today.
And I would send it, and I'd be done. So some days it would be like protein shake. 3 hours later, apple with peanut butter. 3 hours later, chicken with brown rice and broccoli. Great. Everything's good. 4 bags of Skittles. 3 Reese's cups. Salad with chicken. And I just send it. Yeah.
Okay, that's just the facts, ma'am.
Yep.
That's
and
what
she
I
would
ate.
tell me, don't skip meals. So even if I binge, she's like, don't skip dinner. Which it sounds counterproductive, but she's like, I want you to get in this cycle. And then it started getting less, and it was 2 bags of Skittles. And then it was 1 bag, and then it was no bag.
So what part of that process enabled you to improve what you were eating more consistently without the big binges?
I think you get sick and tired of being sick and tired. It's kind of like what happened with drinking, where I was just like, I'm doing this all the time. It's nothing new, but I'm just over it. For me, I just hit a bottom. It was like, I'm continuously doing this every night, and the next day with the firm resolution that I'm not going to do it again. And then the next day comes and it happens again. And I don't know if that's like divine intervention or just the universe working with me or whatever it is. But for me, it was definitely super important that I hit my own personal bottom.
Because that's where you found the motivation to change. And then for you, it sounds like it was this slow, gradual process.
Definitely, and it still is a process at times, for sure. It's like they always say, my friends always say, the highs aren't as high and the lows aren't as low. And it's less of me being on a roller coaster. It's more of just like a little, it's like this versus where it used to be like this. Like, now today I feel, for the most part, I can not engage in those behaviors. And the thing is that the intensity and duration is much lower. Because I don't tolerate pain well at all anymore. I used to love to sit in the pain, just feel it. Wallow and just self-pity and now I'm like, get your freaking boots on, booyah, and get your butt out the door and you're gonna be fine. You're a big girl.
Get over it. Let's go.
Let's go.
So for you now, is food an outlet sometimes? Like, do you let yourself eat a half bag of Skittles every now and again? Or what's okay now?
It's a fine line because for me, alcohol and sugar are one and the same almost. There are times, like I could go out sometimes and have a drink and I could just quit there. And then there were times, which I would not know when that was going to happen, that I would have a drink and it would end up in a hospital. And so,
had you gone to the hospital before from drinking?
Yeah, multiple times.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it was not cute. I was not a cute drinker. It wasn't like, oh, you just got so drunk and you were so funny and you blacked out, but it's fine. It was like not cute.
You were nasty.
I was just like, blah. I mean,
Sloppy.
people thought it was funny, but I did not.
Yeah.
And so the same thing with sugar is that once that trigger has, something switches in my brain. And so once that happens,
you lose some control, like the addiction.
Right. I'm completely powerless. So I lose the opportunity to make my own decisions once I put sugar or alcohol
So you
in my
try to, you don't drink at all? Alcohol?
No.
Do you have any sugar now in terms of, are you talking candy, Cokes?
So I don't really do soda anyways, but but as far as sugar goes, like, my iced coffee has a little sugar in it. I kind of know which things are my triggers. That's the other thing is I had a list of foods that were triggers that are like.
Do you stay away from them?
I stay away from them.
That's like black and white for you. That's not like, well, I'll dabble in that a little bit, it'll be okay. Like,
unless I'm like willing to pay the consequence.
What's the consequence?
The consequence is I don't know when I'm going to stop doing it again, which is a scary thing.
So you're afraid you would lose control and then binge sugar.
Go back to that person.
So you've discovered you have these triggers. I've been learning a lot about habits. There's a trigger, there's the behavior, and then there's the reward. And that reinforces the loop, the habit. Food is so obvious, sugar is so obvious. Whatever the trigger is, it could be as easy as seeing a bag of Skittles, having 2 or 3 of them, and then bam, you house the bag. What's the reward? That immediate way your brain feels with the surge
and the high,
the sugar high, and so that reinforces it.
And then I'll just start tomorrow kicks in.
And then you kind of just
tomorrow
let
never
go
comes.
of all of it.
Yeah.
So the interesting thing is pattern interruption. So being able to identify the triggers like you have, and then either avoiding them or being aware that you lose control with whatever and stopping it before it even.
And I can watch it. Like I can see it. I can play the tape through. And sometimes it's like I don't care. And sometimes I care. It's usually when I'm taking care of myself that I care.
So let me ask you this, because I try to eat healthy most of the time, and then I get to a point where I'm like, I need some McDonald's.
Right.
I want some pizza.
Totally.
I want to drink a Coke or 2 or whatever.
Right.
Not every day. And I feel like, letting myself have that enables me to eat well most of the time.
Right.
How do you balance now eating healthy with this?
I think it is, and now I've gotten to a point where there are certain things I call them like my like clean cheats. Or
like what? What's a clean cheat for you?
Like, if I go to the trouble of like making a homemade whole wheat or gluten-free crust pizza, like that's a fun thing for me to do, and it's like
you're such a geek.
I know, and that's like a clean cheat. I'm like, okay,
let's have some gluten-free pizza.
I know, we're gonna get wild, and it's like I don't have that all the time. I just had a little phase where I was like eating sugar again, and I'm like, what the hell's that?
What were you eating?
Like, I got really on a kick with peanut M&Ms. No, the peanut butter ones. They're like crack cocaine. I was like, what? Not that I know.
No. The peanut butter ones. You know
what those are.
You know exactly what I'm talking about.
Those are dangerous. I got on a little kick and I was like getting them every day, and I was like only having a bag, but I'm like, and
only a bag.
No, but it was like, this is how I know my like addiction's alive and well, is it's like I started off with the regular size bag, like the 220 calorie bag.
Yeah.
Graduated right to the share size. They don't even call it king size anymore. It's called the share size. And I was like, what is going on? I'm like, it's like you might as well like shoot this up in my veins right now. I'm like snorting freaking M&Ms right now, and that was the thing. But there was something going on.
Some stress or something else.
A very
in your
specific
life.
thing that is a thing that does cause stress, and so definitely.
So you were medicating something.
Medicating.
Yeah, that
so
stress.
It comes
you were
down
coping
to
with that stress by
what are you coping with? What are you dealing with?
So what have you found helps you to cope better with stress instead of alcohol or sugar?
Well, this whole idea, which I talked about a little bit earlier, of there being kind of like a higher power or God or spirituality or whatever, the meditating and prayer it's just... That's my thing.
That's your thing. That's great.
Because it's like, I can't control this stuff, you know, and it usually comes down to control. Anytime I have fear or anxiety, it's like I'm trying to control either an exact situation or an outcome of a situation instead of like leaving the results, you know, for whoever
I'm
to
just
take
like,
care of.
I'm listening to you and I'm so just thinking of my own life in so many ways. I'm just like, I gotta try some of this stuff.
Well, because we want a specific outcome. I mean, that's, you know, it's our nature as humans. It's like we want things to go the way we want them to. And sometimes it's not in our best interest and we just don't know that yet. And sometimes we're just not supposed to get what we want. And that's okay. You know, there are things in my life that I was certain I wanted. I was positive, whether it was a guy or a job or whatever it was, you know, that I was positive, this is what I want no matter what. I was devastated. I had this whole pain process with multiple things where it was like, why isn't it just going my way? And I'm banging on my high chair and I'm
God,
pissed.
why?
Yeah, like, but looking back now, I'm just like, thank you. Like, thank you, universe. You know, that you did not let me do that.
I don't have any problems with control. I am not a control freak.
At all.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
That makes a lot of sense. So, okay, so let's talk for just a second. Give me like one day of what you eat now on average. And we haven't even talked about exercise. This is so funny. This is why I like this one, is because tip of the iceberg, here's the behavior, and we have been down here the whole time talking about feelings and how all of that has been manifest in what you've done. We haven't really talked much about your macros.
Okay, so I am a creature of habit. I do way better when I'm like, my life is easy when I have things planned out. When I know this is what I'm eating. Structure. I am a huge advocate of structure because it takes the guesswork out of it. Left to my own devices, to make a choice at lunch when I'm stressed out at work or whatever, nah, I don't need to make that choice. I just need to know that I have a lunch in the refrigerator that's planned. And when I have that, it's easy. So every single day I wake up and I literally have the same exact thing. And that's not all the time. Like, I just went to Vegas last weekend. That was not how I ate in Vegas.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, well, I mean, we've talked a little bit about cheats and, you know, not being perfect and all that stuff.
And it's not about being perfect, but what I do know is there's a drastic difference in my outlook and attitude on life when I'm eating clean and eating what my body wants.
What's that difference?
And when I'm doing with Vegas, I was like depressed for 3 days.
Oh.
So it really affects me chemically. And it's not I ate bad and I'm terrible. It's like I'm tired. I feel lethargic. My brain isn't operating.
Yeah.
I'm more giggly. Like when I got here, I'm like, oh, just whatever. When I'm eating clean because I feel so good. I'm like probably seem a little high.
People totally, you feel better when you're eating.
And because I'm taking self-loving action.
That's a good point too. There's part of you inside that knows when you align with taking care of it, that it responds and you feel better.
Right. And then again, it's like my attitude and outlook on life is different, and the universe, it seems to, you know, create more abundance in my life.
That's all good stuff. Do you have anything to promote?
To promote? Well,
can these people follow you on Instagram or go to a website?
Yeah, so you can either go to my Instagram, which is Brittney Carbone Fitness, Brittney Carbone, Carbone Fitness on Instagram. Or you can go to my website, which is GetBC, as in Brittney Carbone, Fit, getbcfit.com.
Check her out.
Yeah.
Because you coach and you're like a...
I do lifestyle.
What do you call yourself?
I struggle with that. I call it life. I know. I am a personal trainer. I am a certified nutritionist.
Okay, good.
But I'm also a lifestyle coach, and that is a lot of the same stuff we've been talking about.
So trainer,
self-love,
nutritionist, and a coach.
Yeah, and bringing it from a self-love perspective versus you better lose weight because you're fat. You know what I mean? Type of thing. It's.
I like that a lot.
Try to come from a place of love. So.
Thank you for being on the show. That was great.
Thank you.
Yeah, that was great.
Thanks for
so
having me.
Reach out to her. Tag her on Instagram and stuff. You can ask her questions.
Yeah.
If you have questions, that you want her back and want other stuff to talk about, send it to me and we'll do it. I'm sure we'll have you back. I'm sure you'll be welcome back. Whether you come back or not is up to you.
I will.